For once, I am making a video, not out of the goodness of my heart, but in order to clear up a couple of things which incredibly annoy me online, aside from the pointless everyday arguments about how my YouTube name is spelt and how I was not on Rranntt's channel a while back. What really winds me up in the Counter-Strike community is how the average player adores the most pathetic maps. To justify this point, I made a map called Aim 5 Minutes, which I deliberately only spent 300 seconds on. As expected, more people downloaded it than all of my other maps put together, including the amazing Smash and Gib Valley maps. This is the same in all industries, however, and is the main reason why pay-to-win games are always topping the ladders over blatantly rubbish games like Titanfall 2 and the new Doom. That was sarcasm, by the way. My Aim 5 Minutes sequel, named Aim 50 Minutes, was a bigger hit, but only received 3 times the number of downloads, despite being at least 1,000,000 times better. I found the answer on the aptly named noobrefuge.com, where I quote, "Come on dude, one's called Aim 50 Minutes. Take a hint. Games shouldn't last that long. So there, discovery 1 is that people are too stupid to understand the semantics of names and instead believe that someone is stupid enough to make a map which takes 50 minutes to play. However, the fact that they thought that it was a viable option leads me to believe that some map makers are stupid enough to carry out such a stunt, which nicely moves me on to point 2. David Johnson, the maker of Dust 1, Dust 2 and Cobble, aka Cubable, is supposedly a great mapper. However, this hasn't stopped him from making rubbish maps like Dust 1, which looks strangely like a Team Fortress map as you can see here, and results in the unfortunate terrorists standing absolutely no chance against the overpowered and overpositioned counter-terrorists. America might approve, but for Counter-Strike, this sucks. Cubable was surprisingly similar to Dust 2 in all aspects apart from the setting and the fact that everything's about twice the size that it should be. Or at least, it was until Valve updated it for Go, to the point where it now actually plays like a good level. To Dave's credit, all of the stuff that I've been dissing in his maps has already been mentioned on his blog, and I feel that acknowledging your flaws should by law render you immune to those criticisms from others. So with that said, enough of the moaning. Before I go any further, please can I just say that Dust 2 is by far the best map in existence ever. Bombsite A is the pinnacle of human achievement, Short A is a work of art, and midsection allows for skilled players, like me, to seriously hurt the other team within 2 seconds of the round starting. If I was to remake it, I would replace Long A with something a little more terrorist friendly, and would probably get rid of the hole in the wall in Bombsite B, and replace it with another entrance from tunnels, hence making a B rush far less suicidal. With those improvements, as well as the ability to customize the face of my player, I believe that I would brick up my door, make videos thrice a month to pay for electricity and an internet connection, as well as a month's supply of Weetabix and apple cider, and I would sit naked in a darkened room playing Dust 2 for 18 hours a day, taunting each victim with a close-up of my player's customized face. And gloves. There are a couple of steadfast rules that everyone must stick to when making a map. Firstly, it must have a catch. Second, a purpose. And third, it must be sunny. A catch is needed to get people to download your map. Something that makes it stand out, being an amazingly intricate piece of architecture, a large pit, or in most cases, water. Think of it as a computer game, or even a woman. No matter how good the gameplay, if the graphics don't hook you, then you're not going to get hooked into the nice gooey core of the gameplay. Now when I say purpose, I don't mean to kill the other team over and over and over again. Counter-Strike can do that on its own. I mean an internal goal, something that springs out of the air and sounds like a good idea. Bit like a tasty biscuit. For instance, Dust 2 makes me think hide Short A, or bunny hop down mid and take out those damn B campers from the rear, while if I was to play surf maps, which I don't, I would be all excited about getting to the end first and knifing all those AFKers. To achieve this urge, your map must be balanced, containing areas with different strengths and weaknesses. I can't be bothered to describe what I mean. Just go to Bombsite A of Dust 2 to see what a perfect design of excellence looks and plays like. Height is a fantastic tool, and levels with ladders and platforms everywhere will attract people far more than a completely dull aim map with no redeeming features. Unless the latter includes porn in the title, but that's just an unfair advantage. The third point I cannot stress enough. By far the most important aspect of all levels is for it to be sunny, which is why Dust 2 is by far the most amazing map ever. What about Office and Dust 1, you might ask? Office is set mainly inside, so it doesn't really matter, and as for Dust 1, the only reason that people think it's good in the first place is because of the sunny setting. Replace it with a cloudy sky and watch it drop to the demonic depths of Havana, which I will hastily urge people never to play, due to its complex, confusing layout and horribly worn out walls. Which reminds me, why the hell do 95% of Half-Life 2's textures look as though somebody's attacked them with a crowbar? When making indoor sections, I can choose to lovingly furnish them with CS Office's clean, neat walls, or resort to something that wouldn't look out of place in a brothel's basement. Having had a trek into the darkest depths of competitive CS:GO, I've come back thinking that it was a wasted opportunity. All of the ladders we joined consisted of moaning players who would use any trick in the book to reverse a 30-0 win to us, including bribery and hacking. Of course, my adept knowledge of all the rules led us to repeatedly pounding them until we were at the top of all the ladders, wondering what all the fuss was about. It's like climbing a mountain, only to realise that you've got a horrible, boring and relentless journey down the other side to come. In Counter-Strike's case, all the teams we utterly owned in matchmaking always cried about how we were nothing because we were not playing on ESEA. For the first time in my life, I succumbed to peer pressure and signed up to this massive league, and for the first time in my life, I completely 100% regretted doing something. In short, ESEA contains thousands of players, all believing that eternal glory awaits them if they reach the top of the ladder. Of course, they eventually regret wasting thousands of hours of their lives when they could have spent doing something useful, such as juggling or solitaire, once they realise that there's no golden chalice at the top and that soon the next 14-year-old clan will knock them off the top, mocking them all the way. They attempt to balance the karma in their pathetic little lives by telling every other player in the universe that beats them that they are nothing in life, unless they are in ESEA, and so begins this horrific pyramid scheme all over again. Because of this, I consider making DE maps completely useless, because the only people who will ever play them will be the idiots in competitive ladders or those who like to play offline against bots. The former favour abysmal maps like Season or Mirage, which both include shoddily tacked on sewer bits which were added when the makers suddenly realised that their map design was way too simple, and those offline loners may be the nicest people on earth, but they won't be able to give me any feedback on my map, classifying them as useless. In short, I'm urging any of you who are interested in competitive games to think twice, because it's not the be-all and end-all, and you don't want to be classed in the same group as those who think that Season and Mirage are the only good maps because they solely play them to rank boost. Oh, and please stop belittling players who beat you in matches. The number of times I've been accused of being a sad loner in life with no girlfriend almost surpasses the number of girlfriends I've had. So my advice is to shut up, because you're playing the same game and you don't know the backgrounds of everyone you're playing against. Any assumptions you make about their personal lives are just as applicable to yourself. You don't play CS:GO then accuse better players of having no lives. It's stupid. Nor would you go to a juggling convention to call them losers because they can't play the guitar as well as you can. However, unlike that comparison, in CS:GO, you're not going to be rectally rammed by hordes of justly Mason Garfields, meaning that cyber insults are for the weak and cowardly. I think that just about covers everything that winds me up with Counter-Strike. For the most part, it's a great experience where you get to meet random people online and play with them, in a good way. And although 3kliksphilip no longer gets this issue, I find that every server is full of griefers, hackers, people just dissing everybody else on there, which I think is just rubbish. and cut.